okay. So the first article that I wanted to kind of reflect on was a article about improving police interactions with deaf subjects. And I think before police officers can improve their interactions with deaf subjects, they need to have some sort of substantial amount of training on how to work with those members of their community. And doing all the research that I've done thus far on the deaf community and their interactions with police officers, I've gathered that most of the time that they're scared, they're nervous because they know that the officers know that they're not deaf, and they're concerned that that's going to be an issue. And when police officers have interacted with those who are deaf, either they've been, the victim has either been killed or severely beaten. And that's just not okay. Nobody wants to be pulled over and think that they're going to be beaten up. So in this article, there are 10 signs for law enforcement to use to learn when they're engaging with those who are deaf or hard of hearing. Some easy ones would just be, stop or to calm down, and then one would be like arrested. And just learning simple commands like that can really ease the situation at hand. Other ones are, other things that officers can do is provide like a pen and notepad to the individual, which I think would be easy if it was a really quick interaction with an officer. But if it's something that's super extended, I think that's not the most ideal way to communicate. And interpreting services like an ASL interpreter would be the most ideal thing to use when interacting with an officer for an extended period of time. In a case where it's like a car accident or a burglary or something like that, where there's a story that's involved, an interpreter would be the most ideal for situations like that. And the making accommodations for members of the deaf and hard of hearing community, the Americans with Disabilities Act requires that law enforcement agencies provide communication aids and services needed to communicate effectively with people who are deaf or hard of hearing. There's only one situation where, except when a particular aid or service would result in an undue burden or a fundamental change in the nature of law enforcement services being provided. So when an officer is pulling someone over, they need to find out if the person who is deaf or hard of hearing, what type of aid or services he or she needs, and going forward from there to figure out the situation. But overall, I thought that this article and the video were really informative. I never really thought much about interactions with police officers and those who are deaf or hard of hearing, because I'm not deaf or hard of hearing, so I never took it into consideration. But it's frustrating to know that there are the people who are deaf or hard of hearing are scared of police officers because of that lack of communication. So if officers are trained better on how to communicate with those who are deaf and hard of hearing, there will be less situations in which individuals are beaten or even killed. But overall, I thought it was an interesting article and I enjoyed reading it.